Welcome to my lovely HP community and the 5D Collective, and anyone who's new. Today's episodes, we begin with being yourself. It involves secure attachment and integration. And this is coming from a 5D mystic. Yes, spiritual self-help, mindful life, loving, and hoping. No hoping. So when you know of true spirituality, and that is in many different ways, shapes, and forms, the gist of it, living a life of meaning and connection beyond the soul self. And then when you also didn't know how much contour could be added to the words, be yourself. So for me, it's been easy because I have a whole 3-year-old heart. She's Maria, and my 1-year-old, and that's because I got lucky. I'm so lucky, oh so lucky, no. Yeah. So I have a child-centric environment. What I've noticed is there's a lot of people on YouTube and just anywhere that really have not done any of being their self. They're more of show yourself, I'm dying to meet you, and that's because they don't. Wild thing, na, you make my heart sing. So they don't actually know how to explain, I think, to themselves and to others what I'm about to share with you. So there's a Zen master. He actually allows himself to have the title Zen master. He's not in the Enlightenment Soul Age group. As a person who's a channeler, channeling means I have a relationship. God, Akash, consciousness. The sciences people, they call it the hard problem of consciousness. I laugh because it's not a problem. It's a direct relationship. And I had been downloading since I was a kid. I just didn't realize it because, as you grow up, you find out things. Then I confirmed all of that, which is mysticism and spirituality, with my trusted sources and not with ancient textbooks. That's why I bring to you new stories so that you can understand there's no Lucifer, evil, or demon. There's a Michael Stone forensic criminologist. His scale of evil, yes, they all end up in prison. And they all need therapy. And anyone who's talking against a good therapist, well, they all basically fit the shame bill of the loathing inside. So we're going to leave it alone because from the outside, you can't tell. From your ears, it depends on where you're at. But since I'm here for the 5D Collective, I know that it's all going to be, everything's going to be all right. Yeah, because I'm not trying to get thumbs up or thumbs down. I'm actually here to say you can be yourself. So our other episodes are going to be a bit of channeled guidance messages because I still have our cards from this entire week. As I've been sharing with you all, the 5D Collective, we are awesome, true badasses. Means we know that love is badass and being authentic. So speaking truth, not Cusco's, no, Pachas from the Emperor's New Groove. So it's called, like, when I was a teenager and went up to the faces of all these people who had seen my teenage boyfriend cheat on me, I went to the ones who said they were my friends, and I asked each and every one of them why they lied. And I was probably 16. Now, let me pause. From 11 to 13, 14, I learned a lot about what people don't know how to do when they have a Cusco attitude. And when I got to my 14 and 15 with my teenage boyfriend, I decided I will let who I trust in and who I don't out. No, not really. It was more of yes, no, yes, no. Oh, without pointing, because my mother did teach me how not to do that. Don't reject people like that. That's kind of something that might hurt their feelings. But at the same time, I'm thinking, why should I hang out with people that I don't like? I mean, it's a bonus to have people, isn't it? Yes, for me it is. Not for those who are looking for this. So when you realize that committing to being yourself makes true life partnerships is why you don't leave your boyfriend just because as teenagers he cheats on you. So all of the people, what did they have to say? Drum roll please. Fear. Basically they all were afraid to tell me the truth. They all had a reason for their subjective experiences from what had happened to them. So one of them, because they had a boyfriend who believed his friends who told him that she had cheated on him, which was not true. So she said, I didn't tell you because this is what happened to me. Plus, I didn't want you to think I was jealous of you and your boyfriend because my boyfriend, he was the hottie of one of the hotties of the town. So apparently this envious stuff between women, I don't have envy because, I'm Maria. There's only one of me. So this is what it means to be confident, which is why I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm insecure in the way of a teenager, but I'm not insecure of being me. I don't change. There's a door, I told my boyfriend. This is who I am. We've been best friends for however long, and I'm not changing. and I got to keep growing up. Okay, so the committing to being yourself makes you a true life partner. Why? Oh, well, life is lived from the depths of you, unless you want to be a facade. And here's where, when I see all these YouTube experts talking about they call it the hookup, there's just a lot of words that they use where they think that what is trending is people with lust and hookups, which is, granted, that's Tom and Jerry with the Cusco attitude and squirrel attitude, which means codependent. Yes, they need a good therapist like Patrick Tiahan. And guess what they all like to tell the mystic when they come? You poor unfortunate souls, so sad but true. Hey Maria, can you read me some cards? Thank you very much. So I've had people in 4D land come to me for that. Now, the guidance was really clear. It's great. You know how they twisted the words? Because that's what happens when you don't have a whole 3-year-old heart and a whole 1-year-old. You twist words because, as Stephen Porges points out, your ears are flopped down. So there's a whole way that I know how you work and how I work. The difference is I'm a whole self. So committing to being yourself makes you a life partner because, well, one, you'd have a complete relationship with yourself. As Patrick Tiahan points out, anybody who has had any type of attachment wounding, inner child stuff, they will have a self that's paused, which is why we have fancy man and woman in suit telling you not to go to good therapists and that they're trying to lock you up and that you should be reactive versus understanding that no, if you want to be smart, obviously, if you want to be a dumb, because your anger circuit will dumb you down and then you're using the first instinctive 3 years of your life basically. Say that if you're an empowered human being, you want to be, then you're going to want the flow state, which is why mindfulness, living and loving is really awesome. So when I get reactive, it's a very small way, but I can notice because my emotion gets charged. And I like to learn about it by paying attention to myself and then saying, okay, we're going to note this. And then we're going to learn how to work with our mindset and with that awareness of self and not be reactive. Why? Because I'm going to breathe, get my nostrils going, be in awareness, and then with kind intention or neutral intention say, okay, what is the biggest picture here? How am I going to be a best contributor? Because there's no physical weapon in the forefront for me to have to use my fight flight. So anyone who wants to stay reactive is telling me, like that Zen master who wants to use his title, that he doesn't want to take a little step further, like the little choo-choo train who could. So I'm not really going to look into that too much, but being yourself. When I began, people were like, why would people need you? They don't need me. I'm a bonus. Now I know that first of all, you need a Patrick Tiahan, good therapist. Then maybe if you want, you can get him and do shit here. But then there's people that, I don't want to do it, Maria. I want life now. So in that case, you can all go be Cusco. So IHP is for the ones who want to do life for real and being yourself. Again, secure attachment, integration. It's very straightforward once you have taken ownership of yourself. So core, no shame button. Narrative, no story. What was it? The other one, relational. So obviously trauma is relational. So whatever trust breaks you will have had, you get to handle them. And then there's solo self. So when you live a life of meaning and connection beyond the solo self, that's why you're going to actually be yourself. Okay, so now that I know all of what it takes for you to be yourself, I can say mindfulness practices and spiritual still help anyone who wants to live the awesomeness of life. But with that being said, back to my story. So one girl had this whole experience about her boyfriend believing other people. So she justified basically, and I didn't say, let me give you a characterological distinction and judge you and cast a stone. No, because Jesus and God taught me not to. As a Catholic Christian, and as an Akashic record reader and Reiki master, well, I'm not welcomed by all of the Holy Spirit, but I definitely know what the Holy Spirit is. And it isn't people who are dividing people and acting like monsters and making also God out to be a monster. And then they're also talking about humanity as if we're in a frenzy of lustful stuff. No, people don't go to good therapy, so they use their visceral and they keep on with their insecurity, fucking each other, drugging each other, and drinking. And really, I mean, there's even passive-aggressive ways that people come to ask me for readings. They minimize the tarot by saying, oh, it's just energy. But then they come back for more because they get insecure about what they want. And since they're working towards it, but they want to be certain, well, guess what? Oh, you're not sure anymore, huh? So the guidance said, be sure, stay concentrated, stay, don't allow yourself to. So when you don't know how to handle your 1-year-old and your 14-month-old and your 3-year-old, basically your emotional plane, that's why we have a Zen master with laundry. He's being his self, but it's not a mature version of himself. I mean, it's his teenage version, because we all have the child parts, and luckily for me, I know which one leads for me. It's not my child parts, it's Maria's prefrontal, because my 16-year-old, she's really good. Whenever she doesn't come up, what comes up doesn't go back down. And it's because I'm mindfully aware with an integrated brain. My default mode network is downregulated. My left and my right, they're partners in crime, and it's not a crime to love. Actually, it's a beautiful thing to use intelligence, and when you're around intelligent people, that's also nice. So we talked about that yesterday. Mystics and people who are 5D, yeah, we hang out with intelligent, perspective human beings. Oh, and those who are intimate. So not anyone who has shame and lying in the forefront, because really that's just, teenage stuff. So it's really boring to have insecure people in life who, back to my story, so another person, their excuse was that they were afraid I would just not believe them or not be friends with, I don't know, but they all had, that one also had some experience. Someone didn't believe them. That was why. So long story short though, it's not an excuse, is it? When you can understand as a grown-up, because emotional maturity means you're a grown-up, and even as a teenager, I was already a grown-up. Why? Well, it's not really grown-up. I was mindfully living, spiritually living and loving. God and Jesus taught me, and I had common sense already. Oh, and I also didn't have an ego that would bruise, because it's not personal. Simply meant, okay, you don't have to be sad about this, Maria. You're right, I don't have to, because the heart is mine, the gut is mine, and the brain is mine, and those are the three brains. And so anybody who wants to use words but then doesn't know how to mindfully be aware of how their stuff is working inside, that's why I bring to you self-empowered enlightenment mystic. So the Zen master, if he were actually a person of integrity, he wouldn't use the word Zen or master, because he doesn't know how to be a Zen when he is in laundry. He doesn't even know how to process in his prefrontal cortex sadness or frustration, and how to get it into a healthy self-soothing. You know what you do when you get upset? I love to love, and my baby, he loves to dance, he loves to dance. Okay, so you have people around you that lift you up and they make you smile, live, love, laugh. That's why. Because really, why would you stub your toe and make a big deal about something when you're not in physical peril? This is why non-reactivity is your health, and it is enlightenment. And when you are reactive, I'm going to say it's not shameful, but definitely for a person who is mentally and emotionally empowered, I don't like when I'm actually reactive, because it means that Kali came up for no other reason except for Shiva was needed in the door, and then we bring in Krishna Lila, and that's how you activate your social engagement system, because again, your words, they don't represent anything except for the left mode of your brain. And if you're not a person who owns yourself, then I'm talking to a 1-year-old, 3-year-old, and who knows, that 16-year-old, what kind of bullshit story they made up. So really, why would I bother giving you any type of considerable weight? Because you're a low self-esteem person who, when the wind blows, you're going to go left or right. You're unreliable like all those other teenagers. You're an unkind, unreliable human being. When you have not self-empowerment, you're not going to be somebody that I know I can count on for sure, because you're reactive. And that is not something positive in our day and age, because really, I mean, unless you're somewhere in the middle of nowhere, which, I mean, I'm not, we don't need our survival mode on. So all those narratives that people make up when they're getting into relationships is what I'm trying to get to, because again, remember, our focus is personal development and self-help. So I'm talking in our next episodes about relationships. You can't be a life partner if you don't know how to commit to yourself in a way of being a mentally and emotionally healthy person. That means to self-soothe in a way that doesn't bring humbug. The Zen master doesn't know how to do it. That's why some people, they go to Terry Real. He's great for couples who need him. And Patrick Chihan. We are here as healthy others, at least here at IHP, because I'm here for the ones who want to do the next steps after they have gained their core self, and they say, yes, I want to self-attune, regulate, and know how to calibrate, because otherwise, why would you bother using the word mindfulness to begin with? You don't have to spiritual, but I'm a mystic, and I am spiritual. And so, with that, I will leave you with our lovely Sadhguru. The only problem that I have with people is they lack the needed intensity, he says. If they were intense enough this day, my work would be done. Yes, Sadhguru, but your work is not done. If you are constantly aware that all the other things are passing things and I'm fundamentally life, you will remain intense. There is no other way, because life does not know any other way to be. Life is always intense. It is only thought, and emotion, which is deceptive. I love him. He's funny. He doesn't know how to talk to you about the restorative embodiment self. I do, because I took courses, and I love my teacher. He's a somatic therapist, and he calls those of us who are restorative embodiment the angry Buddhists. I'm not a Buddhist, but I understand what he means. So if you look up restorative embodiment, there's a book on it, and then you can understand that aspect. When you understand integration, and I do from Dr. Daniel Siegel, again, your left and right, they work together. That default mode network is downregulated. So when I'm looking at you, I have no trauma charges or insecurities. Also, as a teenager, I didn't have any of that because, again, I talked the talk and taught you. I'm a person who doesn't give a shit about what you have to say to me. I care about what Maria does by Maria's word. And I got taught by my mother how to be respectful. So I basically was like, yeah, if you say a word, I'm not going to be offended, because obviously if you don't know how to have a conversation, and if you lie, I'm also not going to be offended, because that means you are a coward, and why would I be afraid of a coward? The only reason I'm afraid of anyone is because I'm physically 4'9", but the reality is I'm not afraid of people intellectually or emotionally. Actually, it's always really great when I get to have an interaction. In fact, I'm still looking forward to the challengers out there for a whole other conversation, which we're going to talk about next. So it is not how much you do, how you do it is what makes life beautiful. Life is beautiful because you are alive when you are a person who knows how to be with your left. You put your left foot in and your right foot in, and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around, and that's what it's all about. So when you're in awareness and you don't know how to handle what comes up, there's your non-bilateral integration. So we got an ego in town. Cusco, what's up? You're not fun to be around. Oh, sure you are, because I'm a jaguar. I'm a feminine. It's like the Mac Jaguar, Mick Jaguar, but the difference is, are you lonesome tonight? Do you miss me tonight? No, I don't, actually. I'm quite good with turning knowledge into wisdom and wisdom into knowledge. So the jaguar, she doesn't ever become prey in the Amazon. And she gives certainty and courage in times of fear. So while I am a scaredy cat, there's one thing my body is not scared of: people. Because I'm only physically scared of when I get my panic attacks. And then if something's going to fall off, and then really I'm going to have like 2 seconds to do. But a person, not really, because my gut is so good that even as a teenager, I'm like, something's off. But you know what? All knots come to the comb. This is an Italian saying. It means that when you lie, sooner or later, give it enough time, I'm going to spot the liar. You know why? Because none of us can hide our embodied nervous system, which is actually why a person who doesn't learn to self-master their emotional, mental, and physical plane will be able to be read by a person such as myself or anybody else. Not because we're studying them. No. But because we're all a nervous system and we're going to be vibing. Plus, when you have a flavor of one energetic imprint than another, they have a similarity, because the tone that you use, it's based on your embodied brain, the nervous system. Stephen Porges taught me that one. And since your child parts, there's the different organized 0-1 attached panicky, 3-7 shame submissive, freeze of all ages, flight 11-12, fight 14-15-16. I can tell you all, when I've met people who don't know about themselves, I can tell when they switch up that voice. Plus, there's also something that happens inside of us when a person switches from one of their alters to another alter. And that's because when you have introception, so here's where mysticism is about you being able to go beyond those 5 senses, but so is being a good therapist, because Dr. Daniel Siegel knows about the relational field. The good quantum physicists know about the relational field. So I bring to you a bunch of different topics, but the essential topic for today, being yourself. It involves commitment to your mental, emotional, and physical plane. You don't have to do yoga, but you can. It helps your ventral vagal nervous system toning. Mindfulness helps you to use the 3 pillars of the mind: focus, attention, awareness, but that's where maximum uncertainty comes up, which is why if you didn't take care of your inner child parts and you got trauma hiding there or something bigger and you don't know your self lens, Dr. Daniel Fox is really great. He talks about borderline personality, narcissism, and he explains how mindset is everything to anybody who's healing, and I've seen people healing and they're doing awesome. And then I've seen the ones who are show yourself and thank to me, and they're doing really great. They're holding that frequency, you know. Thanks for keeping us balanced, people. So some of us have a high, others they don't want the high. It's okay. We won't tell them, they won't notice because ego's blind. And always, ego will twist things like Cusco does because they're not learning to expand. They're actually fighting the journey of expansion by saying, I'm going to brutally dissect a new therapist and healing methodologies and let you know the system's trying to keep you in prison. They don't know how amazing it is to be able and be aware of yourself and then have a joyride, a tango with any and all people. And why? Because you don't represent a physical threat, and your poor 0 8-year-old needs to go out and have fun somewhere, and you just don't want to go get Patrick Tian to get out of being a codependent and meshing type Tom and Jerry thing. So we watch from afar. It's not lust or the times that are leading human beings to being promiscuous or whatever words these old people want to use. It's because they don't take seriously healing their inner child stuff. They just use words and want to look fancy on screen. So let's start letting all people know to be yourself means yourself is unpaused. So you have your child parts 0 1 3 to 7 freeze. You have a basic understanding that you don't just heal this on your own. If you are, then you're able to push yourself to stop self-soothing and unhealthy mannerisms. So that's something that I've seen. A very small portion of people have the willpower to be able to do that, and it's because they care about their herd. So they look at their herds, so they are motivated based on others around them and those others' well-being. If, on the other hand, there isn't that aspect, what I've noticed is they stay helpless, hopeless, and vindictive. And like those teenagers had excuses for why they lied and they completely felt good about it, which, I mean, I don't give a shit. Because, again, the minute you hide anything from me, I'm thinking coward. But now I know, no, it's not a coward. It's a person who's living their subconscious unconscious, and they just don't want to go and get themselves aligned. They'd rather be Cusco all over the place. Show yourself an Elsa. So you see when people are on a popularity contest, without commitment, you cannot have depth in anything, whether it's a relationship, a business, or a hobby. Thank you, Denzel Washington. Without committing to being yourself completely to people who are their self, we're going to notice because your facade is Cusco's energetic imprint, which is your 16-year-old. You're not a depth of emotional, mental, or physical human being. And again, Sadhguru doesn't know the human topics. I'm the one who's bringing the self-help into the mix so that those who want to expand themselves can know, hey, come over, 5D mystics and 5D people, let's have a good time. So committing to being yourself, the 5D mystic spiritual self-help mindful way. Join us, share, like, and subscribe. Spread the word for anybody who wants to be a healthy other. It's really fun to know that there are those who know how to live, love, and laugh because they care about their regulating nervous system and not bringing their humbug into a room. Because really, I mean, anyone who's living with a roof on their head and has not shit going on around them, I'm going to say if you're watching me from YouTube, you can do it, Zen Master. You're using the title. Come on. Move forward with your prefrontal. Learn how to use the brain. Shall you neuroscientists let us know how it's not supernatural to be in the flow state? Everybody can do it. Oh, wait, that's right. People that are insecure don't like to hear that. It's not true. Not everybody can do it. I want to be more special. Well, that tells me that you still have a lot of way to go, but it's okay. Meantime, I'm serious with those who are serious. Come commit. It's fun. I can tell you all about bliss and delight. It's really great. So we'll be back again in a little bit. Thanks for stopping by.